Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Ask Nick, our weekly Michigan football mailbag here on MLive&apos. Back again with another video attached to the rest of the mailbag questions, which can be located below in the story. A lot of the popular ones this week that I pulled out. We're getting more and more of these as things kind of sort of float with the athletic department, with the president, and with Brady Hoke. And I guess the main one now is has been pretty consistent that, the question of, is there any way Brady Hoke can survive this, and get another year? I've gotten that more and more, and I think it's partly become, sort of because I think people are getting the impression that Mark Schloessel might take a lot longer than they expected to hire an athletic director. I don't know if that'll actually happen or not. That's another deal for another situation. I answered some of that stuff in a question below. But in terms of Hoke and just Hoke, it's interesting, and I got asked this a ton in August, July, and before the season. What was he going to have to do to save his job? And I kept going back to the fact that he was going to have to beat some of these rivals, and that he was going to have to show that this football team was improving. He was going to have to show that by the end of November, this team was better than it was, at the end of last November. And, from my gauge of it, we sit here, and there's a lot of uncertainties, obviously, now with the athletic departments and the AD job up in the air. But if you look at it and just pull it all back, has this football team improved? Well, first off, have they beaten any rivals? No, they haven't. They got smoked at Notre Dame. The worst loss they've ever had there. They got smoked at Michigan State. Another back-to-back embarrassing losses. They play Ohio State, here at the end of the season here, and I guess it'll be 2 weeks, more or less, something like that, I guess, to 2 weeks Saturday. So they play Ohio State coming up here soon. Ohio State's offense is, slaughtering people. We thought it would have been a miracle last year if they won the game. They almost did. It would take another miracle effort, it seems, for them to win again, because, the offense and Baumgardner appear to be as bad as they've ever been under Hoke. It's just continuing to just go downward, and it's not getting any better. They got a 10-9 win against Northwestern last week. That's great. They beat Northwestern in 3 overtimes last year in a game that was just almost exactly the same. They beat Indiana the week before. That's fine. They beat Indiana the year before that in another ugly deal. I mean, at the end of the day, they're still in the same spot. They're still doing the same things. They're not improving as a total football team. I mean, I know he'll continue to point out parts, and some guys are getting better, and they are. I mean, Ryan Glasgow getting a lot better. Chris Wormley getting a lot better. Everybody in that front seven on the defense certainly getting a lot better. I think you can argue a guy like Jared Wilson getting a lot better. I think even some guys on the offensive line are getting better. I don't know about a lot better, but they're getting better. But the fact is, your defense is now rated in the top 10, which it sort of was in 2012 and was outside of it a little bit in there in 2011. And your offense has bottomed out. It's in the 120s. It's in the 118s, whatever. You can't score points. You turn the ball over too much. Your team's not mentally tough enough on the field to get through those things. It's the same stuff. So when I look at it and I say, can he survive? Can he save himself? I look at it and I think, what is he going to do to change this narrative? Beating Maryland and shocking Ohio State would put you at 7-5, which is the exact same spot you were in at the end of last year. We all say this. You're either getting better or getting worse. There's no the same. There would be the exact same situation. It'd be the exact same situation. How does he survive? I think the only way he survives, to be quite honest, is if the AD hire drags out, takes a little bit longer, and they're in a spot where they just don't have the time to do it. I've heard a lot, well, Jim Hackett's able to fire Brady Hoke. He certainly is, and that would be something that he can certainly have the power to do at the end of the season, whether that be at the end of a bowl or at the end of the regular season. But the trick here is, if Jim Hackett fires Brady Hoke, is he and a couple of people on a search committee, are they then tasked to hire a new football coach without a permanent athletic director? That's very difficult. I've heard a lot of people say to me this week, well, you can hire a coach and tell him that he can pick his own AD. No, that's not how this is going to work. A coach wants to come in here to coach, folks. He wants to come in here to do his job, not to fix all the other crap that's going on around the program. They want stability. They want to know who they're working for. They want to know what that mission is, what they're going to be able to do with their boss, if they're going to get along with their boss. Not an interim, not a guy who could be gone in a couple months and someone else is here that you don't know anything about. It'd be a huge roll of the dice. You could get somebody in to take that job, but I'd be willing to bet that somebody would be probably more of a desperate person than somebody with options. And I think if you're Michigan, you want to hire a coach with options. You want a good coach, the best one you could possibly get. So I keep going back to the fact that the AD thing needs to be taken care of before you get into any of the coaching stuff. But at the end of the day, when this season is over, I don't believe they'll beat Ohio State. I don't know if they'll beat Maryland. I still don't know if it's. I don't know if you can even slam dunk a bowl at this point. I think that's still up in the air. The only way he would be able to survive, in my opinion, would be to win out and hope like hell that the AD situation either isn't resolved or they find somebody that says we're going to give you another year. Because the deck is stacked against him at this point, and he's done all the shuffling. So I mean, it's on him now. I mean, there's these little things that they keep pulling out. You know, young guys here, young guys there. That's fine. Those excuses are old. When you peel all of this back and forget about all the controversy and forget about all the other stuff, this is still a bad football team. It's still a bad team. They're not any good. They barely get by a Northwestern, who's terrible. They pummel Indiana. That's great. Everybody's pummeling Indiana. I mean, Penn State didn't, but Penn State's not any good either. They're just not very good. I mean, there's just fundamental flaws in how they do things. They're not organized. You know, the list goes on and on. I mean, it just feels like it's time for a change. It really does. You know, whether or not it happens is not up to me, and it's certainly something that only I guess maybe even Jim Hackett doesn't know at this point, because I think there's other things on the table. I think that's what's concerning people, that this AD thing continues to look like it might take more time than they originally thought, and it should take more time than fans want. You know, he wasn't going to hire a guy 2 days after Brandon resigned. They should take their time, and when I say take their time, they could take even until the middle of December for all. I mean, they could go that far. I mean, you know, if Michigan's in a bowl game and they're playing until the end of December, and you want to remove your football coach, you let him coach the rest of the bowl, you let him do all that, and then at the end of it, you use that time to figure out your AD spot, and then you make your move, and you go find a coach. Coaching searches happen in January. It happens. So I'm of the mind that he hasn't done enough to keep his job. That's me. I mean, they have regressed every year. They've gotten worse every season, and more than that, this isn't a situation where you look at this coach and say, well, he's been given a raw deal, or he's been put in a bad situation, or he hasn't been supported. Oh, no. He has been given everything he needs from day one. They wrote him a blank check to go find Greg Madison and to fill out his staff. He picked his team. 3 years later, he fires an offensive coordinator. They write him another blank check to find a new one, and now their offense is even worse. They're going in the wrong direction. I don't know how you justify it. I really don't, no matter who your AD is. So, to me, I think the damage has already been done. Now, if he survives it, that's on them, and even then, I don't know what you would do, because what is that really going to change? Every recruit is still going to be hanging in the breeze saying, well, if I go there and he's going to get fired next year. I mean, he would be a lame duck, I would think, if you brought him back, because if you brought him back, you'd probably have to give him another year on top of that contract, because you can't trot him out there to recruit with 1 year on the deal. So I just think it's too far gone. I really do. I don't think they win out, and I think there's a lot of people saying, well, the only way this works for him is if they win every game. I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't. And I'd be surprised if it did. I think a lot of people would. But could he survive it? Yeah, maybe. But I think when you peel everything back, it's just too far gone. I mean, you're so far behind your in-state rival, Michigan State. You're not even close to being on the same footing as them. And the proof is in the pudding. I mean, you can't argue this. You're not. You're getting hammered when you play them. You played Ohio State tough last year, but Ohio State's won 20-some games in a row, Big Ten record in the regular season for conference games. You're fumbling around and barely beating Northwestern on the road by 1 point because they botch, a call at the end of the game to go for 2 at home with all the momentum. I mean, whatever. I mean, they're just not a very good team, and that reflects on Brady Hoke. There's no one else to blame. There's nowhere else to reach here. This isn't one of those things where you say, he got a rough shake and he should be given more time because of that. He didn't. He got everything he needed. He brought in top flight recruits. He paid big money for his staff. He got all the support in the world, and they've done this since it started. And that's time for a change, in my opinion. That's my opinion. I've had that opinion for several weeks now. I think that's been pretty clear. So it'll be interesting, I guess, and there's a lot of other things that'll have to happen before that even gets into the conversation. So we'll have to wait and see how that all goes, I guess. I'm sorry, I got cut off on that video. It screwed up. But anyway, that'll wrap it up for this week. No football this Saturday, obviously. Brendan and I will be at basketball. Basketball opens up its regular season officially Saturday afternoon, so we'll be there for that. If you haven't read Brendan's John Beeline story yet, give it a read. It's outstanding. The best thing you'll ever read. On John Beeline. Terrific work by him. Very, very proud of what he was able to accomplish there. So give that a read. Until Saturday, we'll talk to you guys basketball-wise then, and then football next week against Maryland. So until then, have a good one, everyone.